I'm pleased to introduce to you Communication and Performance Coach Jason Jones. Let's hear it!
Thanks, Brad. So a coach starts a brand new program, and this coach is really excited about this program. It's a relationship coach, and they've figured out how spouses can really connect, reignite their relationship. And so the first thing that they're going to do, like the smart thing to do, is to run a beta program, right? So you want to run a first run of the program, put folks in. So this coach, they get on the phone and they call somebody up. And this is somebody that they know pretty well. They know them, they trust, they have a relationship, they've got something going on. And the coach starts off by saying, so how's it going? Good. How are things with your spouse, with Charlie? Good. Things are fine with Charlie. Okay, great. You've been going out, a little small talk, things like that. And then the coach says, oh, I got to tell you about my program. It's like, oh, great, you have a program. Yeah, I got a brand new program. It's really exciting. It helps couples just like you and Charlie. Really? Yeah. And it's like I've like a lot of science behind it and a lot of experience and a lot of things like that. And I put it all together and it's really, really amazing. And her friend says, it's good for you. Fantastic. That's great. And then there's this kind of awkward silence. It's like, well, I was thinking that actually this would be really good for you and Charlie. Oh, me and Charlie. Oh, like you were thinking like we would do it. Like this would be something that I would take. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking when I called to, that's not why I called. That's not the only reason I called. But I thought this would be good for you. I thought this would just be something you'd be interested in. It's like, oh, I don't know. I mean, things are fine. Things are really good with Charlie and I. Things are really fine. I mean, I know we've had stuff, but we're fine now. Things are fine. They're fine? Like, yeah, really fine. Like, really fine? Like, great. Okay, great. Well, I'm glad it's great. That's terrific. Well, if any of your friends are having any challenges, have them let me know. And that was call number 1. And then call number 2 was a lot like that one. And call number 3 was a lot like that one too. And this coach is sitting there thinking, I don't have anybody that's interested in my program. Maybe this program isn't any good. Or maybe the conversation isn't actually meeting the person where they're at. Maybe the conversation is too much about what the program is and not enough about where the person's at and what's going on in that person's life. Today I want to talk to you about meeting people where they're at when you're talking about your business. Because one of the big traps that we all fall into, whether we've been in our business 30 years or we've been in our business for like 2 weeks, is that we get really excited about what we do. We get really excited about the difference we make, and that's what we want to talk about. And then we get surprised when we're talking to somebody who sounds like an ideal client, and they say, good for you. I bet you help a lot of people. And it's like, but you're the kind of people that I would help. I'd be perfect for you. And somehow you're not seeing it. And I don't know where to go in this conversation now because you're not seeing it. And what's really missing is that you're just not meeting them. You're just not meeting them where they are at. Now, how many people have heard that? Meet them where they're at some motivational speaker event. Which sounds great, right? Great, I'm going to do that. I'm going to meet them where they're at. I'm going to be right here, I'm meeting you exactly where you're at. I'm here I am, I'm doing it. How do you do that? Like, where is somebody at? How do you find out where they're at so that I can tell you about my great program and how it's actually going to help you? Well, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and what we really leave out is we leave out where is the person at that we're talking to? What is happening in their life? So the flip happens when we have to flip away from our solution and flip more toward what is the problem that we're actually solving or the need that we're fulfilling. And what are we asking that actually uncovers whether the person that you're talking to actually has that need? Because the reality is, in this world, everything is context driven. And it's in the context of the person you're talking to, in the context of their life and what's happening in their life. And if you can connect with what's going on and what's happening for them and they open up and share with you perhaps a challenge or a problem or a need, and you really get it and you understand it, guess what shows up? Know, like, and trust. And you know what else shows up? As an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I've had a lot of success with that in the past. I could probably help you with that. Would you like to talk more about it? And there's an opening inside the context to which that's something that they could act on, something that they want, not just something that's interesting to hear about. So tonight what I want to share with you is I want to share with you the actual rest of the story, which motivational speakers leave out, which is how do you actually do that? And I'm going to introduce you to what I call the spectrum of consideration. Because everybody is walking around somewhere on the spectrum of consideration that you're talking to about your business. So on one side of the spectrum, we have folks that are unaware. All right? So they're unaware that they have, that what they're experiencing, the symptoms they're having, the challenges they're having, are actually a problem. Like, for example, the woman that coach was talking to, the coach was aware that there had been problems with Charlie, she was not in that moment at a place where she was thinking, things ain't going so good with Charlie. I really should be thinking about doing something about Charlie. She was like, things are fine, this is just how it is, it's how it is, I'm not thinking about it. She was unaware. And so the question that you always have to ask yourself about whatever it is that you're selling is, what does the person need to be aware of in order to recognize the value of what I have to offer? What do they need to be aware of? And not for you to tell them, look, this is what you got to be aware of. Here's the thing. Because that just gets back to like trying to push your solution. Instead, it gives you what there is to ask about. So they start thinking about something and then become aware. Like if she said, so how are things going with Charlie? A couple, 6 months ago, you said things were kind of rocky and kind of challenging. Have they gotten better? Oh, well, I don't know. I guess a little bit. I mean, we tried this, we tried that. I don't know. I guess it's not so great. Right now, she's actually going from unaware, not thinking about it, to starting to be aware in that conversation. Here's the next level. Has ideas of the problem causing symptoms. So they're experiencing challenges and problems. So think about the example of the woman in the relationship situation, right? So she is experiencing challenges, communication breakdowns, some gaps in trust in the relationship, things like that. And that's where the questions could really be revealing some of those experiences that point to a problem. That there might be a problem here. This might not just be how it goes, there could be a problem. And when there's a problem, that means there's a possibility for something better. There's a possibility for an improvement. There's a possibility for something to change that is not in the realm of awareness when they're unaware. That's why when we get really excited about how great it can be, they don't get it. They say, good for you, I'm excited for you. But they're not seeing it for themselves. And then the next place of the spectrum as we make our way to ready to consider an offer is that they are aware that they have symptoms and they're trying to figure out what is the problem. Like, what is the problem really? What is the challenge that I really have? So in the case of the relationship coach and the woman in Charlie, right, is that she's like, things aren't working, things don't feel good, I don't like how this is really working. What is the problem with me and Charlie? What is it, me? Is it him? What is going on? So she's searching to define what the problem is. And then there is the ready to consider an offer. They know, they have a good idea of what their problem is, and they're seeking a solution. These are the folks that when we run into them, and we get all excited about what we have to offer, and it happens to be a match, they're all excited too. And they usually buy. And we think, we're awesome! Look at that! Why can't everybody be like that? Why can't everybody just be ready to consider an offer? Wouldn't that be nice? But they're not. And look, if all you ever do is just pursue those who are ready to consider an offer, you're losing out on everybody else on the spectrum. So what can you do with these other folks? If you know where they are on the spectrum, then you know where to nurture that conversation for the next conversation. Because we know another motivational speakerism is what? Follow-up. All the fortune is in the follow-up. But what do I say in my follow-up? We say, how's that relationship going? What's happening now? How are things working? Are things getting a little bit better? What have you decided? Like, what is it him? Do you think he's the problem? Like, they will tell you exactly what it is. If you're bringing your questions rather than your fantastic, exciting solutions and all the enthusiasm, or you're bringing the interest in their context and understanding that, that will tell you everything you need to know to move across this spectrum over to this place of ready to consider, so that you can manage your relationships and your conversations over time and capture all of these potential clients, not just the ones that you stumble into that are just happen to be looking for what it is you're looking for. Because that's all you focus on. Growing your business is slow and frustrating and irritating, and you feel like you're pushing, and you feel like you're like talking about your stuff too much. You have all this, you're questioning, all this counterproductive stuff that doesn't actually help you grow your business at all. And really it's just because you're just in your own unaware space. So here, you have the spectrum of consideration. So now here's the question here. Okay, so great, Jason. This is the spectrum of consideration. Now I see where people are at. What do I actually do to use this? How do I actually make this actionable? Well, here are 3 tips. First, these are the things that you need to uncover when you're in conversation with someone, whether you're following up with someone on the phone, whether it's at an event like an AGC event. The first one is, do they have a problem that you solve? You have to create, strategize questions, open-ended questions that uncover if the person has a problem that you solve. Asking about each other. How's your relationship going? What's happening? How's it going? Is it as exciting as it was earlier? Or are things not like that great? What's happening? Asking those questions about that to see if there's something that you can actually solve there. The other one is, how aware are they that the problem you can see is what needs addressing? Here's a secret. Most people that you talk to aren't exactly sure they are addressing the right problem. They're not super clear on the problem. And if they're not getting excited about your solution because you see the problem, it's because they don't see the problem. So by putting your effort into helping them get clear on exactly what the problem is, will boost their confidence on buying the solution, because they know that, or they feel confident that it's going to address what they need. Because, I mean, think about it. Like, how many people here have thought they knew what the problem was and they bought a solution and it wasn't? Right? How many people want to do that again and again and again? One person. Amazing. Usually it's none, right? We want to avoid that. That's what we want to avoid, ultimately. And then finally, how far can you move with someone in the consideration? Can you take them from unaware to ready to consider an offer? That's really fast. I've had networking conversations that began with, we're just exploring and talking, and through my questions I uncovered that they had a need I could help, and then I was introducing one of my programs, and as I began to introduce the program, she said, "Whoa, stop! I did not get on this call to buy something, and I'm actually considering buying something." I took her too fast, too far, and didn't ask permission along the way. Is this where you want to go? Do you want to go this far, or should we stop here? Let her be in the driver's seat. Then there wouldn't be the, whoa, oh my gosh, I'm about to buy something. Somebody stop me, I'm going to get out of here. And the bottom line was, she was having a, I got to get out of here reaction. Not because I was being pushy or manipulative or anything like that, because she just went like, how did I get here? Because it moved too fast across that spectrum. So it's something to be aware of, not like, only go to here, but ask along the way to discover, where are you at now? Where are you at now? Oh, you have a new insight. So where are you at now? And all this kind of questioning is in service of them and in support of them being really clear on what their problem is, so that they can confidently make a purchase with you, knowing that they're getting the right solution that they need. I had an amazing client. She came to work with me on a business, and she had previously built an extraordinary Arbonne business. Like an extraordinary Arbonne business. And I wondered to myself, I'm like, I wonder how she built that Arbonne business. And then in one of our courses, I was talking about that I had some digestive issues, because we were just having some side conversations, and I was like, yeah, I've got some digestive issues and things like that. It was relevant to the conversation of the things we were talking about. And 2 days later, I get a message on Facebook. Hey, Jason, do you remember in that session you were talking about your digestive issues, this and that? Well, I have an Arbonne product that would be really perfect for that. And I'm like, wow, that's great. And Arbonne, I should consider that. And when I got that message, I welcomed it. I welcomed it as a solution because it was exactly in the context of what was shared. And she was speaking specifically to a need that I had said, and she met me exactly where I was at, which was like, aha, that's how she built her extraordinary Arbonne business. And so now you can too. Thank you.